Welcome to an incredible episode 18 of The Big Life. College soccer has come and gone. The season, starting in preseason when Jordyn and I started documenting, all the way through the final of the College Cup last night. Congratulations to national champions Florida State. Jordyn, this pains me. You were right. I know you're going to clip that and forever listen to it. That's fine. Sam Carey, was saying that Jordyn Wickus was correct. The world is ending, but Jordyn, how are we doing?
Wow, that's gonna become like my new ringtone or alarm or something. Like I gotta daily affirmations. It's just nice being right. It's a great feeling. I missed it dearly. But no, it was absolutely insane game.
Yeah.
I mean, 5-1 in a championship final, like undoubtedly Florida State took home the victory, as they should. I mean, such an incredible team. Like the talent was unbelievable, and they were all quality goals. All five.
Absolutely.
Quality goals.
I think my jaw dropped when it was like the first two back-to-back in 26 seconds, just off the kickoff to just go punish them again. Like, yeah, I mean, you got to just put so much respect. That was an unbelievable team that Florida State had this year. And I mean, I'm so happy that their run was, and even Stanford, absolutely incredible team. Their defense and the way they play is phenomenal. So no loss to them. It's just Florida State, I think, had more in the tank, and they're remarkable this year. There's no doubt about it.
Absolutely. I think we both had BYU in the final, so that was a little bit of a shocker to see them go out and to go out with a shutout.
Mm-hmm.
I was a bit shocked on that part, but
that game was wild. I mean, I remember watching it just like with my mom, and we were like, I mean, the offside call and then the, goal line decision and so much. I felt like the fact that BYU had 25-ish shots and ended in 0 was shocking. I just felt like the soccer, we've talked about the soccer gods so much this year, and it just was one of those, the soccer gods were not on their side.
Yeah, it's a crappy game to have that happen, for sure, but they had an incredible season, incredible run, and definitely just wasn't in their favor that day. Either way, I still correctly predicted Florida State winning.
Thanks for reminding me. Yeah, I mean, amazing soccer season. And I think the coolest part, and we talk about a bit in our interview, is the parity in women's soccer this year. So many games or anyone can win. I think women's soccer is one of those sports where, yes, you have amazing, quote unquote powerhouses like Stanford, like a Florida State, but everyone's lost games. Obviously you have undefeated Florida State, but any game in any given day, I feel like, is competitive in this landscape that we're in. And that's really special that, you can have that belief that no matter what, you have a fighting chance.
Absolutely. I'm getting like a little sentimental to see it all come to an end. Like my season ended weeks now, but that the college season is actually over, that this is our final podcast of the season, it's a bit sad, Sam.
I know, I've had so much fun. Like, who would have thought, this random DM? And even I've listened back to our first podcast, Jordyn, and it's kind of hysterical. I feel like we did not know each other at all, and we were just talking. And yeah, so I'm so happy with where we've come, where this podcast comes. We're going to talk about it a lot, but thank you so much for everyone that's tuned in, that's listened, that's cared. I know I've received so much feedback. Girls Soccer Network has received so much feedback, and it's amazing that this is like a niche that people want to hear about. And I think it's so special, women's sports in general. I think I saw the stat that went viral the other day, like it's tripled in viewership since 2019, and it's projected to make over $1 billion this year. And so just to be a part of rising women's sports, and women's college soccer is really unique, and it draws a lot of viewers. And I think being able to kind of tune people into the lives of being a part of it is really amazing.
Absolutely. I mean, best DM I ever sent, let me tell you. It's been such an incredible journey and so therapeutic to do this every week. I mean, I genuinely look forward to it, and to know that people actually want to listen to our stories and hear what we have to say about these topics. It's still confusing to me, but it's been such a rewarding journey, and I am so sad to see it come to an end for this season, but we have some fantastic news.
We're not done yet. So as much as I know you all were sad, it was episode 18. It was done. Well, Jordyn's officially decided she can't get enough of me. And that's simple. So as this college soccer season comes to an end, we will wrap up season 1 of The Big Life today, but there will be a season 2 that we're very excited about.
Absolutely. And you'll continue to see us grow, and we'll probably look back at this episode at some point and laugh about how bad we were in comparison to where we will be. And I look forward to that moment. But for today, Sam, crazy, crazy life you are living here. Give us a little insight. How are you doing? What's your day is looking like?
Insane, you know. So I think like a bit of, I guess, personal news, as we all know, this countdown's kind of been going on. I'm getting married this weekend. Absolutely insane to say out loud, but that's a thing. And yeah, getting married this weekend, going on my honeymoon next week. Half the reason why we're not podcasting. I will not be able to be contacted. It will be amazing. But with that said, of course, in my life, now that my journey at Iowa has come to an end, there's been this big question of what's happening and what is Sam Carey going to do? And I think this is where the special Big Life season 2 is going to come into play, because Jordyn will still be living the big life and I will be living the life beyond the big life. And I think that's going to be a really cool perspective of having, you know, two people in two different spots in life and talking about that. With that being said, we've always kind of known that my big life, or my life after, would be in soccer. I knew my career wouldn't be done. And I am officially putting my name in the 2024 NWSL draft.
Woo!
So it's, you know, in full transparency, it's been a decision that I've thought a lot about. I've always known I wanted to play. It was just a matter of, am I going to try to play here in the US, or am I going to try to go overseas? And, you know, I think I'm just going to have too many regrets if I don't try. I might fail, and that's all right. You know, I've lived my life by a quote that I've heard a lot. It's called, like, put yourself in the arena. And if I went and signed a contract right now overseas, though that's by no means a secondary option, and there's a lot of great opportunity over there, I think that it would be selling myself short. I think that it would be taking a safety route. And I'm, you know, like I said, I might go in and fail. And that's all right. And I'm okay with that, because I don't want to live with any regrets. And I think in 5 years, if I don't put my name in and I took the quote unquote safe route, I would feel regrets. And so the object would be to be the first Iowa soccer player ever drafted. There has not been one from the University of Iowa, so that would be kind of what I'm going against. I'm going against history a little bit, but I'm excited about the opportunity, and now all eyes are kind of looking at January 12th for me.
I'm so excited. I cannot wait to see you make history, because I have no doubt, big fan over here, that you will in fact do just that. And I'm so excited that you chose this route. I'm just so excited for this little journey you're going on. Like, after 18 weeks of oh my god, I just hit my mic. After 18 weeks of getting to know you and to see where it's all coming to an end and like what the future holds, it's so exciting from, friend standpoint. You're gonna be
Oh,
married next time I see you, in the draft, a pro soccer player, living the bigger life. Crazy.
it's a wild update. It's a wild update. Life is a whirlwind. We're taking it as we go. So
Absolutely.
everyone, wish me a happy wedding and a happy honeymoon next week. It'll be great. Next time you hear from Sam Carey, it's still saying Sam Carey, but kind of will be Sam Angel. All those crazy things.
Is
But
there anything super excited that you learned as you like through this journey? How
yeah, I mean, it's just a crazy process. And there's I obviously I knew it would be in depth. And I knew that, you know, everything that comes with scouting and film and all these different things would be super detailed, because it's now at a whole new level and they're looking for the best of the best. But, you know, like even in having conversations with my coaches, like I sit in Dave's office a lot, you know, we'll joke in our interview, but he's probably heard way too much from me recently. But like so many people are involved. He's even told me that like other Big Ten coaches have been called talking about me. So like they're doing their due diligence to, you know, see who they're trying to get and what other perspectives are. Like obviously my coach is going to try to sell me. Of course he would. But what does an opponent's coach think of me, you know? So it's almost like hoping that the right people have your back and that kind of regard. And, you know, looking for an agent. What does that look like? You know, what do you look for in an agent? Those are all kind of things I've kind of learned and kind of been flying by the seat of my pants with a lot of the time, but learning as I go and trusting my gut along the way, I think is one of the biggest things. And, you know, I feel like at the end of the day, I would be a really big hypocrite if I didn't do this, because one of the things I've preached is that if you don't believe in yourself, how would anyone else believe in you? And I do believe in myself. I do know I'm a good soccer player, and I'm a fighter, and I'm scrappy, and I have a great mentality, and I can live my life as a professional soccer player. I have full confidence in that. So, you know, I think I'm just going to stand behind me, be my number one advocate, and own the journey.
Yeah. What's Trey's feelings through this? Is there somewhere specific he's trying to get you drafted to, maybe for some selfish reasons? What's his dream look like?
That's a great question. Trey has been nothing but a great partner through this whole journey and being open to everything. So even if it's like, Trey, I'm going to put my name in the draft. He's like, great. Trey, I want to go overseas. Let's go. Like, I don't know that his attitude has fully changed. He's just down for the ride, which is exactly what I've needed, to be completely honest. I think, and he won't ever say this, but he wants to stay in the US, which I get, of course. So when I told him I'm putting my name in and we kind of came to that decision together and sat down and talked it out, he was very happy. You know, I will go anywhere that can get me to play soccer. And I think that's kind of where Trey's at. You know, we're going into this adventure married, as a partnership, as a lifelong partnership. And, you know, what better way to kind of test that first year of marriage but go on a new adventure. And so for, you know, me, obviously I'm from Missouri and I moved to Iowa and that's all I've ever moved. Trey only ever lived in Iowa. And very clearly I'm not playing professional soccer in Iowa, considering there is no professional soccer in Iowa. So no matter what the journey brings, it'll bring a new adventure and it'll bring, you know, moving and starting off that life. And I'm really looking forward to it. And I think he is too.
Aw, maybe we can get you in Cleveland one day because we're starting a petition for a team there.
There we go. I think the two, like, rumors are around, you know, about who's getting in and who's the next NWSL team. And there's two cities that seem to be petitioning hard. It's Cleveland and St. Louis. So I'd be
Let's
down with that.
go.
Midwest girl at heart, all I can say. But no, I'm excited and I think Trey is too. And now it's weird. Like I've told myself, like, after Wednesday, I'm done thinking about soccer and I'm fully thinking about my like wedding, which is a thing that's happening. These lovely tubs behind me are like wedding decorations and stuff. So yeah, life is getting crazy and we're on the journey. But Jordyn, how are you? How's the end of the season? How's our academic weapon status? That was in question a couple weeks ago. How are we doing?
We are surviving. I think
Love it.
that's my motto for these last 2 weeks here. End of exams, I have 5 finals, 5 end of year exams this week, and then 5 finals next week. It's just, why would they do that? Why do they hate me? I don't know. But they're doing it. And it's a life, man. It's all cumulative. Like I missed 5 weeks of school with soccer. It feels like I've barely been here, and now I'm like scrambling to get it all done. But it'll be fine. You know, like I joke, like it is what it is. This is what you signed up for, and it happens every semester, and yet it always catches me off guard. So it's my fault at this point. But yeah, I mean, academically, like it's finals week. And then in terms of soccer, I get to match the uniforms we have going on here. Finally got our hats after 6 weeks, it feels like, of winning. We got our hats and shirts, and we will go and get our like plaque ceremony today where we get put in our 1855, like where they have all the championship plaques, and we'll get our name up on there, and then we'll go to the basketball game and kind of get honored and get to celebrate our season thus far. So other than that though, we really haven't been doing much. Like nothing, everything's been optional, like captain led practices. Jeff had COVID, I think, or something. So my end of the year meeting got pushed a week. So it's now tomorrow instead of last week. So I still have to do that. And then, you know, all that good stuff. But it's been pretty academically focused, you know, catching up on that aspect of life. And just, yeah, it's been a ride.
I love that. I love that. No, it's definitely crazy. And then home for the holidays, I'm assuming, and back at it at Michigan, everything.
Yeah, going home for like a week or two, and then I'm off to Europe with the Cleveland Ambassadors to go play some WSL teams with two national champs in Taylor Huff and Jordan Dudley, and then just some very, very talented players. So I'm a little nervous.
That'll
Not
be
gonna lie.
amazing.
Like,
That'll be a fun opportunity. Obviously, get to know other people, just have some fun with soccer again too, and that'll be a great little off-season break, I'm sure.
oh yeah, I'm
Plus,
excited
you're going
for
to
it.
Europe, so like,
How bad can it be? How sad can
exactly.
you be in Europe?
Simple. That's how it goes, right?
Exactly.
All right. Well, that's a little bit of updates in our lives in college soccer. Once again, guys, I don't think we can say thank you enough for the support that you guys have given us and everything. It's been absolutely amazing. And that being said, we have a legendary guest. You know, we've talked about this interview for so long. The David Dilanni is finally on the podcast. So you get to hear all inside scoops about my head coach, his journey to Iowa. He does give some tea on me, talks about me a little bit. He was not as loyal as Kelly was last week. So there's some good juicy bits about me in there, and I'm sure Jordyn enjoyed as well.
Oh yeah, this is a good one, guys. Stay tuned.
All right. Welcome, Dave. All right. Well, we are so excited to have David Dilanni on the podcast this week. Dave came from Grand Valley State University, where he won 3 different national championships for Division II NCAA, and has now been in Iowa City, Iowa for 9 seasons, where he's led Iowa to 3 NCAA tournaments and 2 Big Ten tournament championship titles, all while taking this under of the name of the Fighting Dave Dilannis. So we're invited to be by the legend. Welcome, Dave. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for throwing that back out there, Sam.
I think it just has to be patented at this point.
Yeah, the Dean Linke special patent name.
Where's the t-shirts? I want one.
I need to get a t-shirt actually, just for fun. But yeah, I've known Dean a long time actually. What a career he's having. What a career he has. But I've known him since I began in Division II. He started calling our Final Four games way back in, geez, it must be maybe 2005, 2006, 7, something like that. And he's been on the bandwagon, or at least a friend of mine, for a long time.
He seems to be a big fan of this podcast here then. I know he's absolutely loves and adores Sam, listening to your guys' games and stuff. I've learned probably more about Sam through him than I have through actually talking to Sam.
Yeah, I think I think you were right the first time. I think he's a fan of the podcast, which means it's both of you. I think he's a fan of anyone who uplifts, empowers, and speaks about bettering women's athletics and uncovering and discussing the difficulties of being a student athlete, empowering soccer, the great game of soccer that he loves, but certainly has a little bit of a love for Sam, but also just maybe a bit more of a history that he has with Sam. But he's a great ambassador of what you're doing, and really empowering others to do the same.
So there's a big elephant in the room when it comes to talking with you, Dave, that I have just always found fascinating with you. Your entire coaching journey got started when you were teaching high school history, but you're from Canada in Michigan. So talk a little bit about like how your journey has come from being a high school teacher, coaching high school soccer, to now being a head coach at a Division I Power 5 program.
Yeah, I am Canadian, and I was teaching American history at one point, and Western Civ, and business law and economics. And I've always been a head coach of some sort. I had three years of where I was the assistant at Hillsdale College, which no longer actually has a program on the men's and women's side. But yeah, I went to Spring Arbor University, an NAI program. If I had to do it again, I probably wouldn't go back to Spring Arbor, just being in terms of the level of play. But I knew nothing about being a Canadian, soccer player, knew nothing about the college system. Came over, and the best part about it, to be honest, was that the level was it was good, but it wasn't great, and it wasn't time consuming. So I started coaching high school. Coaching high school at the same time. I always loved the teaching aspect of it, and I learned pretty quickly. I was a good soccer player, I had a good career, but I wasn't a great soccer player. So it was time to teach versus do. And that's really why I came over here. I was in the Canadian national pool for a while, and I just wasn't, I got bypassed. And so from then on, I just kind of started trial and error, just trying different things that worked for me, for my personality in terms of coaching and developing and mentorship. Yeah, I loved teaching. I did love teaching, but I really loved to coach. And so I was there, I think 7 years at high school doing both. And then I had ODP, and I had club, and I had all these responsibilities. My first daughter was born, and I kind of looked at my wife and went, I either have 5 jobs and keep going with this, or I try to get the Grand Valley job. And like everything else, it took one person to help get my resume in the look pile versus the throwing out pile. And so I did have somebody to do that, and was there for 11 years. And they often told me I had no business getting that job just based on my resume. But I guess I interviewed well, and they were looking for somebody to be an educator. and to be a leader of women and ultimately try to make a competitive environment. And that was way back before Grand Valley was what it is now. It was just becoming, it was certainly a commuter university and was becoming more of a residential place. Football was the only thing good at that time. And we were beginning that whole process from there. And I spent 11 years there and then 9 here at Iowa.
As you kind of go through this journey, what brought you then from Grand Valley to Iowa?
Good question. I felt like I had a great job at Grand Valley. I think winning is addicting. I tell Jeff this all the time and teasing him, but I thought we were going to win 3 more after winning in 2013. I really liked our team. I left a really good team there. It was hard to leave, to be honest, but I had other opportunities of which I didn't think were better. And this was the first Big Ten school that gave me an opportunity, to be honest. We were playing a lot of Division I Big Ten schools in the spring anyways, when I was at Grand Valley, and doing pretty well. And I know it's different, but it's still relative, right? Doing well. And I think in my mind, I always had a fire in my belly of like, can I do it at this level? Can I do it against these people, these really great coaches and these good programs? I think I can, but I really wanted to challenge myself. And the first time they called, I said, no, thank you, because I didn't know anything about Iowa, and we're still fighting it. No one knows anything about Iowa, and no one thinks we're sexy, but we're still trying to get the right fit. But they said, just get on the plane, come down. I think you're going to be surprised. And I was. It's a top 5 college town in the country, and it's given me all of the professional growth and challenges that I seeked out 9 years ago.
So when it comes to getting to Iowa City, we've kind of talked about this a lot. I know personally, but there was a lot of turning around of the program to do. Iowa's not notoriously one of those power programs in the Big Ten, and that's where we want it to be. So can you talk about your early years at Iowa and what that was kind of like turning some stuff around?
Yeah, I had we had a really great year, 2014. I had a great group of seniors, actually 5 or 6 from Michigan, that were really instrumental in giving me a great foundation, a good starting point. Chloe Lacoste was on the team. She's still playing with the national team, and playing with Arsenal. And then it just took some time to build a culture, and build it the right way. I'm a very culture-driven guy. I think anybody who knows me, certainly results do matter at this level, but I am a culture-driven guy. I want to do it the right way. I want to empower our student athletes. I want to challenge them to be uncomfortable, but I'm going to support them, love them. But I want them to do it the right way. I want them to go to class. I want them to make sacrifices to be a student athlete. And that means making sacrifices socially sometimes, and just being respectful about the process. So it took a little time. I would say talent was the biggest one, and then identifying what a student athlete looked like, not just, what in my mind, but in the Big Ten. What did a fit student athlete look like? What did a good student in the classroom look like? So that took some time. And then our 2016 class was really instrumental to the process, and then building it, and then ended up getting the second NCAA tournament in 2019. It's a different era though too. Like, there was no transfer portal. You couldn't come in and ask people to leave after a year, which is what you have now with coaches with new changes. So you didn't have that. So you had to do it the right way, and it took longer. But also I think if it was probably more valuable, to do it the right way. And people just had to make a decision on whether they were all in or not. And it just took a little more time.
Yeah, absolutely. Leading into that, like, how has the COVID year and the transfer portal affected the way you go about coaching these last 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, I think the COVID year is interesting because I'm a huge proponent of it. No one signed up to get a half a season. And for that matter, it wasn't even half a season because it wasn't even a full regular season. So I'm a huge proponent of it. I think I'm an advocate of it. We didn't get more money, but everyone got extra years. So that's a challenge, right? Having to fit 5 years worth of eligibility and 4 years worth of money. I think that's just the reality of it. It's why you see the portal to be as prevalent as it is. The numbers are outstanding, like just astonishing. And I hope everyone finds a place. That we know that's not going to be the case. So I think there's always good and bad that comes with that. But I am an advocate of the portal. I think people finding other fits for them, I think is really awesome. It's a great opportunity. With everything that's positive, there's also downsides to it. And I think finances is one of it. Some people not getting to be where they want to be for their 5th year, not finding a home is another really sad part of it. We don't do a ton in the portal, quite honestly. We do not have a lot of players that leave our program. The ones that do are seeking out something that is a bit more amicable, like, hey, I want to play a little bit different role. Perfect. How do I find you a good place? That's been the case for the 3 that are in there now for us. And then, I'm very honest about those who come in. Like, yeah, you might, this is still going to be a competitive environment. It's still a performance based, but how can we help you get the best out of your experience? But I think ultimately, Jordyn, I think it's a great thing that is part of this level. With that being in mind, there's always going to be people who are going to not get what they want or what they search for and need. And that's sad overall, in my mind anyways.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the last couple of years in Iowa City, the team has been kind of hinged on this idea of belief. And this question has nothing to do with the fact that you met Ted Lasso earlier this weekend. But what is it about belief, and how does that impact the program that you think you coach?
Well, I think it starts a little bit with how we started this podcast is I think the outsiders don't know how special Iowa City is, and to be a member of the Hawkeye, I think, but that's also just the reality. Like there's a lot of really good programs in the Big Ten. There's a lot of really good college towns. There's a lot of really great places to get a good education. And I think that's just across the board in the BCS. I think what you're seeing, Florida State was special this year, like special, but there's a lot of college like parity in soccer right now. I mean, everybody's pretty good. And so you have to have a little bit of like, who are you? A little bit of, I think it's you win because you have good culture. You have good female student athletes that are invested. They believe in who you are. They believe in themselves. And then they play with a bit of an edge for that cause. If you don't have elite talent, and we're only talking about 2 or 3 teams this year that had elite talent, everybody else is just fighting for who they are. And so I think the belief part is really important. I think, and Jordyn was a product of it. We went there the first year, the first game, and we had a terrible mentality. We were not prepared to battle. We were not prepared for the moment. And for some reason or another, weirdly, we didn't believe at that time. And that's just not us. And we went back with a bit different mentality. We went back with a mentality to be we talked about it. Like, can you be the best fight, the toughest fighter in the alley? And because it's going to take that to beat a team like that. It's going to take that to get what you want. So I think you have to believe in who you are, and it's got to be genuine, both as individual players and as a program. And if you can do that, then you at least give yourself a chance.
Absolutely. Going with that year, the unfortunate downfall for us, that was your guys' kind of uprising of the season. You go from barely making the tournament to winning it all and making a run in the NCAA tournament. What was the season like for you guys, and kind of that shift going forward? What was that postseason change?
Yeah, I think we always felt like we were better than 8th, but results are the results, right? Like, so you can't make excuses on a tie here or woulda, shoulda, coulda here. And so we definitely we backpedaled into the tournament, of which we always felt like we should have been a little higher, but you are what you are. And we've embraced that. We've not made excuses for that. But what we didn't do is we didn't waste an opportunity. And that's what we talked about a lot is, you just never know. And I heard Brian Penske say the same thing in Florida State. Like, you just never know. Like, so just go all in with no promises. And if you do that, then usually good things happen. So one thing that does happen in our program is we do get better. We get better from year 1 to 4. People develop. Players that want to get better develop, and our team usually peaks. And I think that's a product of our culture. That's a product of the people that are invested in our program. And yeah, it was crazy. I've been on 2 really crazy runs in 4 years. The COVID year was one of them, but when you believe and you do what you do to the best of your ability, you usually give yourself a chance. And you know how that goes. Like success breeds success. Like just done that at Michigan State. Like you win one regular season title, all you want is another, right? And that's just the reality. It's not a coin term. It's fact. You get hungry for it, and that's I think what our women. We're still kind of kicking ourselves for the Georgia game. Felt like we maybe should have done more there, but that's just the reality of the situation. And I'm really proud of them.
So what is it about Iowa and about the program that tends to get really hot in October?
I don't know. I think we preach process. We preach the investment in the day, growth. We don't talk about goals a ton. I think, and I don't know if that is a good or bad thing, but we talk a lot about what they're bringing every day. And certainly being a student athlete at this time is challenging. The competitiveness within your own program, your generation are so wired to be successful academically, and that's amazing. That's special. Social media doesn't help. There's a lot that goes to it that brings brings a lot of like difficulty to being a student athlete. So we try to just say, hey, and you know this, Sam, like if you're not at 100%, just give us 100% of what you have, because it's what your teammates deserve and what your process needs. So we talk a lot about the process. But I've always been that way. Even at Grand Valley, I mean, I think in 11 years, we went to 8 Final Fours, and we never talked about national championships. We just talked about, we knew that was the goal, but we talked about like winning the day. And I think that ultimately helps you kind of stay focused and with some blinders on and trying to eliminate the things that make make it really stressful and cloudy to being a student athlete nowadays. And I fight it too. When you lose a game you shouldn't lose, I have a hard time sleeping at night, and I have a hard time bringing that to practice. But I feel like I hope that I do a good job of like not showing that, but it's hard.
With all the success you've seen in your career thus far, from Grand Valley to Iowa, what would you describe kind of your coaching style being to see all the success you have?
I don't know. I mean, I think I love my job. I love the people that I'm around. I think I'm an educator. I do think I'm a mentor. I think I'm a relationship builder. I am competitive. I think I'm a pretty good communicator in terms of what is needed to help each student athlete feel special and valued. And I think because they feel special and valued, they reinvest in the process and what we're asking. I think when it comes to like staff, I try to surround myself with staff members that are also like me, that are competitive, but are also relationship builders that care about doing it right. Look, we're not going to bat 100% all the time with everybody loving who I am, but I feel like we bat a high percentage because we're doing it right and we're consistent. And so, I want to find value I want to help people find value in what they're doing. And I want them to feel comfortable with their journey here. And that will come from being uncomfortable at times. That'll come from failure, but it also come with them knowing and believing that I care about them. And now ultimately, my biggest thing, Jordyn, is probably I don't want them leaving after 4 years feeling they woulda, coulda, shoulda. I don't want them to have regrets. And that might come with a little bit of like challenging them and helping them understand that like they're accomplishing something that they never dreamed they could, but I don't want them having regrets. in whatever they're doing as an Iowa Hawkeye or a Grand Valley State Laker or whatever, wherever I'm going to be.
So speaking of bringing people into this culture and this family, we have a lot of younger listeners and parents who listen to this podcast. What is it that when you're out at events, when you're at ID camps, all these different things, what makes a player be like, dang, I want her to be an Iowa Hawkeye?
I think how they carry themselves is number one. I think there's this old saying, you never know who's watching. And I think that's the reality. Like, we talk a lot about being just a good human being and doing the right things. Like that's ultimately on the top of our value list. But we talk about that even in our program, right? Like on the leadership committee, like just being a good human being. Let's start there, like doing what's right. And I think that matters. Watching them when I have a friend who is a really good coach, says, I want to watch them when it's hot out. I want to watch them when it's raining. I want to watch them then when they're losing. I want to watch them then when they're winning. I want to watch them when they're on the bench. And it's just how you react to different scenarios and adversity. I think that's important. So consistency is ultimately what I'm saying. I think competitive nature matters, but it's not the be all and the end of all. Like if they're going to step over somebody to be successful. But also I think that is the same with coaches, like, hey, I'm going to be so successful. So you're out the door and I'm now a new person comes in. But I think they should look at that in recruiting when they're looking at programs. How many people are like being changed over in the roster? I think that matters. You have to do your homework. I think somebody's love for the game is important, like wanting to get better, wanting to grow. When I call the coach and say, hey, tell me about Susie, like I want that coach to speak really volumes about like, hey, Susie's always doing extra training. She's always asking how she can get better. But also I'm like putting more time in this person because they care. So I think in the end of the day, the other part to me is whether it's D1, D2, D3, NAI, JUCO, find a place that values you, that you can find a fit the best of your ability. My daughter is a pretty good player, and I think she's going to go to a Division III school because she feels it's best for her. And I think, and not feeling like you're missing the boat, feeling where you can find value, but also you can impact that program the best of its ability rather than sit on a bench and just kind of ride the wave. And maybe that's for some people, but I in the end of the day, they end up wishing they went somewhere else because they want to be on the field.
I think with me and Sam, I've talked about our journeys. The biggest thing that has changed in this recruiting process has been the use of social media. How has that impacted the way you find kids and interact with them?
Well, I think it goes back to the portal. There's some good about it and there's some negative about it. I think the social media, you've got different Twitter handles that are promoting commitments like 5 seconds after they happen, which is great for the kid. It's great for the program, but it also does is speed up angst and urgency and stress. So there's a couple different things that go with that, positive and negative. There is no hidden secrets anymore. Sometimes somebody takes a visit on your campus and that gets blown up. So then that just now creates supply and demand and urgency and programs that weren't in the fight and now are. And so that just increases value. And so there's a lot of good and bad that comes of it. I guess grows and glows is what we call it in our program. I don't like the word bad. So I think it's all good if it's handled and used appropriately, right? How you promote yourself. I think, you want to promote yourself to colleges, but like you're flagging colleges on every single event once a week on every individual training. Like that can be difficult to have to keep up with as well. So you lose the genuine part of it and you lose the connection part of it sometimes because social media is so prevalent. You want to just say, hey, what is behind the social media part of it? What are your whys? Are you just willing to go to any program or what are your whys? What are the things that are most important to you when you go? So there's a lot of amazing things that come up with it as long as they're used appropriately. So I think we try to just focus on the individual and then go straight to that person and get the hidden values as to why why and where they're looking. And if they happen to use social media, great, that's awesome. but we want to know the genuine part of who these people are.
The Big Ten's changing next year.
Mhm.
What do you think that's going to bring? What is the future of the Big Ten Conference?
I think the next year and a half, 2 years is going to make changes to what you're seeing in the NCAA in Division One. I think what you're seeing is going to change in lots of ways. They just came out with the NCAA literally just announced this morning, maybe an hour ago, some new agendas for NIL, getting a handle on collectives, trying to get a handle on transfer portal. So that will change. I think you're going to see the BCS. You might see the BCS and other Division Ones. There's just a separation. I think that's coming into play. Is it the superpowers? Is there going to be more merging of conferences and go from 5 to 4? For the Big Ten, I think it's not, it's to be determined, right? In the sense of we're going to get to 2024. We have 18 schools. We haven't even got our schedule yet. Like they're trying to figure that out. Who's traveling where and all that. What I do know is we're better for it in terms of competitiveness. You can make a case the Big Ten is going to be the hardest conference in the country next year, with UCLA and USC and Oregon and Washington coming in, adding to what we've already done, adding to a few coaching changes. I think that it's going to be very difficult to succeed. And I think now you're seeing some changes that are being done in terms of how coaches are recruiting, and what they're doing in transfer portal. So I think it's all good. I try to lean to the side of positive, but there's a lot of undetermined that we don't know, right? NIL is a big deal now. Collectives are a big deal now. Are people doing 4-year scholarships or are they doing one? And because that's changing a big deal now with like how rosters are changing and getting changed quickly. So what I do know, it's exciting. Women's soccer at the college level is exciting. The parity is unbelievable. That just means that we're doing something right. And we need to, like, just with your podcast, we need to keep promoting college soccer, in particular the women's side of college soccer, because in the end of the day, we're one of the top 4 women's sports that are looked at right now. Volleyball, basketball, softball, and us are pushing to really be elite. And we need to shout it to the rooftops because it's a special time heading forward.
Absolutely. So now looking backwards at these past 5 years with one Sam Carey, I gotta know, like, what has that journey and relationship been like? Are you attending the wedding in 5 days?
I am. We just spoke about that yesterday. It's we got all these transfers and visits, and I'm going to watch my kid on Saturday. So coming back and attend the wedding. Excited to get on the dance floor and have some fun. I think the journey for Sam has been unbelievable. It's been great to see her grow as an adult and a woman, but as a player. No one has put more into her journey and growth as a person than she has, to be honest. I remember when and where I made the decision I wanted Sam to come to Iowa, and it was at an ID camp. She gave the ball up on the sidelines and she tracked the kid back 30 yards and punished the kid for taking the ball from her. I mean, with a pretty vicious slide tackle. And I remember thinking, yep, we need that at Iowa. And that's really who she's been. She's been all in whatever she's done. We have coffee with Carrie. I have like different individual meetings with certain players. I have Macy on the mic, your Macy Enneking, and just different coin terms. And we've done it pretty consistently once a week for a couple years now. Sometimes we talk about soccer, sometimes we talk about life. And it's been very special on my end. Hopefully she's felt the same, because in the end of the day, winning matters and development matters, but just really getting to know somebody as a human being and feeling like you bettered them in certain ways and they bettered you as well. I think ultimately what I would say, Jordyn, is she's been a leader amongst our program when things were hard, when things were great, and things were things were just kind of difficult. And and she's never kind of wavered from that. And I think that's ultimately what coaches want, is an advocate to help kind of challenge, kind of go through the tides of difficulty and reaping the benefits when things are really good. So I'm a better coach because of her.
Aw. As heartfelt and amazing as that was, now you gotta like trade it off with me. Like give me something here, like for Sam. Funny story,
I think,
embarrassing moment.
yeah, no, I mean, I think Sam, Sam is so hard on herself, but she's also like, she's an overthinker. So you got to kind of balance that sometimes. And, we taught them earlier this year, like how to code. And Sam was always ahead of the game trying to code. And I was like, Kyle Venture and I were looking at her code box, and we looked at like on Speedio, like how do they code? And there's this box, like kind of like had these letters, and we were like, what is there's Sam Glow, Sam Grow, Sam Final Third, and then there's these letters, and I think it was like G, Y, like S, like T, like something like that, and maybe I'm wrong, Sam, and we're like, what the heck is this? Like, this is really weird. And we're like, Sam, what's this? What are these letters? And she's like, get your shit together, like kind of something. And like, and so Sam sometimes will make a mistake, and kind of, I know she's looking at me out of the corner of her eye, and on my corner of her eye, she's like, wants me to react to the mistake. Or, and I've learned about 2 years ago, like, do not react. Don't do like, what the frick are you doing, Sam? Like, because then she reads it. And so I kind of like look the other way. I see her staring at me, and I kind of like, hey, is she done looking? And then I'll look over so that I don't react. But Sam has learned those moments, like get your, get your blank together. And sorry, I forgot about that. But it was like her way of learning, okay, have a joke. It's all right. Like it doesn't define who you are as a player. That's one. And there are a couple others in terms of training where you could laugh, in terms of like Sam taught a certain player early in her career that it was time to get tough, or she probably is best to leave our program. And Sam, we pitted them against each other. It just happened the way it works. She was on the starters, the other girl was on the reserve, and Sam taught this girl every day that it was time to be tough, because she was sending the kid on the sidelines, onto the ground every day. And the kid eventually learned, and to Sam's credit, toughened her up. And I think Sam, like, wouldn't tell this to Sam, but probably owed it to her in terms of her saving her career. She got a little tougher, invested a little bit more, and but it took some tears on this person because Sam made her pay the price every day for about 6 months.
Scary Carrie in action.
At that point, it was Scary Carrie. Yes, I didn't even know about Scary Carrie at the time, but it was pretty good. What about you? Give me an embarrassing or a moment. If I text Jeff right now, he could give me something.
You see, there's a shift in power dynamic here, so we'll wait for the recording to end, and then I'll give you all the tea.
That's what I was.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for everything, Dave. On a personal note, I couldn't thank you for more of anything for the last 5 years. It's been truly amazing. And I can't believe that my 8 years committed to the Iowa soccer program since I was 15 and committing is, now I'm on that alumni status. You can officially say you're not my coach anymore. So that means when we party hard on the dance floor next weekend, it's all good. We
Yeah,
have
I don't know, the photo world. I don't know. The iPhones will be up quite a bit. Careful.
But thank you so much for coming on. This is the infamous podcast that we couldn't have because we decided that we were jinxing all of our guests. So we weren't going to have you on until the end of Iowa soccer season.
Appreciate that, you being in appreciation of that, Jordan. When she told me not to come on, I appreciate that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I mean, we couldn't risk it, right? Like, we got to lose to the champs, if anything.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. You women are doing amazing jobs with this podcast and well and beyond that. So thanks very much for what you're doing.
Awesome. Well,
Thank
we
you
will
so
get
much.
back to your busy day, and thank you for everything. All right, Jordyn. I mean, absolutely incredible. I'm glad you got your little tea on me. I'm glad you finally got your little dirt. I'm going to be so honest. I did not know that Dave knew about that. That was not a conversation that we've had prior. So I love that he figured out my little coding system.
Oh yeah, I mean, it seems so appropriate now after knowing you that that would be put on. It's fitting.
I will premise there's not many clips that have that tag. There is a few though that I'm like, I can't watch this clip anymore. I know it's bad. I'm just gonna acknowledge that it's bad and we're gonna move on. I mean, on a personal note, I joke with Jordyn, but like I'm gonna take that little clip of him talking about me for a bit and forever save that on my computer. And as a coach, as a person, I don't think that I can speak enough about what Dave's done for me. Taking a chance on me when I was 15, wanting me at Iowa after I made that slide tackle and probably lethally fouled that girl, especially knowing me back then. Bringing me into Iowa and the family that he's been and the person he's been for me, the leader, the mentor, and those coffee with Carrie chats, they do happen once a week. I sit down, we have coffee, and we talk about life. We sometimes talk about soccer, but I feel like it's more about how do you be a relationship? What about a partnership? I feel like I've learned just so much from him beyond the game, and I couldn't be more grateful for him and to be my coach and to be in my life for literally, scarily, I was talking to my parents, for over a third of my life he's now been in, and I couldn't be more grateful.
So cute and heartfelt. I mean, I would totally save that too if I were you. I'm gonna, like I said, save the other clip of the more funny portion of it all. But yeah, incredible interview. I really appreciate him coming on. A lot of insight was given, and I think everyone should, whether you're looking to join college team or you're looking already in college, I think there's a lot to be learned from this, and take it for what it is. I mean, he's had an extreme amount of success in his career thus far, so he clearly knows what he's doing, and I think there's a lot to be learned from it.
Absolutely. So while we're talking about people we're grateful for, as always, we're wrapping up the holiday season, and what better way to wrap it up than with Ida Sports? They have an incredible, we've teased it before, we teased it a couple episodes. Their new launch of cleats is going to be big, and you need to be there to be watching it because they are sexy cleats. I know my hands will be all over them, but everything that Ida does, everything that they bring to the women's game, and as we're in the season of giving, we're in this holiday season, a perfect gift. I personally say a perfect gift for a soccer player is a pair of Ida shoes, my personal opinion, but everything that they're doing, we couldn't be more grateful for what they do for us, and just absolutely remarkable stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, there's some good looking cleats, let me tell you. Sister might be getting something under the tree this year, maybe, perfect holiday gift, like you said.
Look at that. Look at that. And while we're at it, we also have to give a quick plug of our sister podcast, Give and Go. Their most recent episode is with Alyssa Thompson. So, I mean, who better to hear from about her rookie NWSL season and a couple of her first caps with the national team. So go on over to Give and Go, where Rotas Vidura goes through and interviews Alyssa Thompson, and coming up is interviews with NWSL rookie Penelope Hawking and so many others. So it's definitely, if you love hearing our voices, if you love what we bring, Give and Go has it all.
Absolutely. Go check it out, guys.
All right, Jordyn. I could not be more grateful this holiday season for our friendship. The last 18 weeks has been truly so much fun. And I did not know that when we started this, I wouldn't just get someone I was doing something for work for, but a friend. And I couldn't be more grateful for that. Like we said, we're not done. You're not done hearing my voice. Jordyn's not done hearing my chaotic life updates. So we're so excited. Stay tuned to Girls Soccer Network about when season 2 of The Big Life will be coming. Expected around February of next year once we get our lives settled a little bit. But I couldn't be more excited to be continuing this journey with you, Drew.
Aw, I mean, I can't say it any better myself. Like I said, best DM I ever sent. This has been so much fun. Genuinely look forward to doing it every single week, and I'm so excited that it is not over yet. And thank you to everyone who listens. Thank you to Girls Soccer Network for all their support for doing this. I can't wait for our next episode for you to be a married, drafted woman.
A lot of life changes coming up. So as always, if you want to follow along with my crazy life, my social media is sam.carey. I know Jordyn has a lot of really fun stuff coming up in Europe. I mean, everyone has to tune in to see what's happening there. So Jordyn, what's your social media? How do people find you?
Jordyn_Wickus.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, happy holidays, everyone. We couldn't be more gracious. And yeah, soccer on. Thank you guys.
Bye, guys.